to the Varside Spurs pubcast, coming to you all the way from the Varside Arms. Joining me tonight, I've got Lee. How are we doing, Lee?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Steve. Kind of reeling from the plethora of injuries that seem to have happened over the international break, but yeah, good.
I think some of them may actually be a little bit worse than, not as bad, as they're being made out to be. They're saying Sonny's is just precautionary, so maybe it's just people, speculation, as they say.
And the enforced absences of a certain trio that's gone on international duty as well.
Well, yeah, maybe that. You never know. They may get released in time. Who knows? Who knows?
So, out of the jail.
Exactly. Okay, fantastic. So we're also joined by ex-Spurs and Luton Town physio, John Sheridan. So how are you doing, John?
Yeah, I'm good, Steve and Lee. Yeah, had a good day. Looking forward to answering a few questions. So I hope I'll give you the right answers.
No wrong answers, John. It's just a chat, a catch up, and for you to enlighten our evening, basically, with some stories and such like. So I think probably we'll kick straight off. So John, like, if you just give the listeners a bit of background about yourself. I mean, you were ex-Luton, as I say. Before you came to Tottenham, you were at Luton Town. So was Luton your first job in the pro game?
It was, yes. I was in non-league football. I was with Vauxhall Motors in the Spartan League, the old Spartan League, and then Tring Town. And then I was invited to apply for the Luton Town job by David Plea. I had no intention of ever going into the Football League, so I went for an interview with no hope really of getting a job, because I wasn't expecting it, and I tried to actually put him off me. I said, well, look, there's other people most probably better suited to do the job. And I said to him, I'll do the reserves for you if you want. I'll be happy to do the reserves. And at that time, I was doing a lot of work for the FA. I was doing England schoolboys, doing the county side, Bedfordshire. So I was quite happy. I had a decent job, and but the more I tried to put him off me, the more he wanted me. And I had the interview, and I went home, and I said to Betty, my wife, said, how did it go? I said, yeah, it went well, but I won't hear from him. And the phone rang and said, the job's yours. I'm not interviewing anyone else. I found you, honest, straightforward. Because I told him that because I've got a limp, I don't know how I'm going to react when I run on the field.
Yeah.
I don't know how people are going to react to me. How am I going to react to them? And he said, well, are you worried then about it? I said, yeah, a little bit, I am. But he said, well, don't worry. So when you get an opportunity, in the end, you've got to take it, or you're going to regret it really for the rest of your life. And so that's actually how I got into league football.
You didn't have any previous. You hadn't met David before, or known previous knowledge of him, or anything like that. And it was just through the interview process, and just how he found you in that process is why he decided that you were the right guy.
I think he knew that he had someone in the area that was doing England schoolboys. Also, that he, I believe he asked the FA if there was anyone in the area, and he actually gave my name. And so it was an opportunity, and he was always willing to give me a chance, which was great. I mean, the limp never ever put him off. He just said, look, it's your ability at the end of the day. So
John, what's your medical background? I suppose these days you probably you imagine sort of sports science, they go through probably a different procedure than years ago that they might have learned the ropes and come through, or was it different? Did you have to have a sort of scientific or medical background in those days?
Well, you did, Lee. My background really, because I had an accident when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
So my schooling was cut dramatically short because I spent over a year in hospital.
Oh, wow.
Stanmore Royal Orthopaedic. So actually so when I come out, I was 15. My education had been curtailed dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd done a couple of jobs, and then I managed to get an engineering apprenticeship, an adult engineering apprenticeship, because I was spent 18 then.
Yeah.
So that was over 3 years. So I was able to build my schooling up because I was doing day release.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually caught up, and it was during this period that I always loved football, but because I couldn't play football anymore, I joined we formed a local Sunday side, Taverners, and then I realised I didn't know anything at all about first aid. So I joined the St John's Ambulance Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
And become a lay instructor. I represented Bedfordshire and Vauxhall Motors in competitions all over the country, and I got a real love for first aid. And then I thought I was invited to go with Vauxhall Motors Reserves, and I thought, well, I just don't know enough about sports medicine. So I enlisted and done the 3-year FA treatment of injury course at Lilleshall. Plus I supplemented this by doing lots of courses, working at a local hospital. Then more study, I become a remedial gymnast. Then I become a chartered physio. So the way I done it took me maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
But
so you kind of combination, I suppose, of not just the sort of medical practice and the study, but also learning on the job as well.
Lots of exams, lots of study. Spent thousands and thousands of hours studying. But the Chartered Society, which is the highest you can get, they actually, Paul Gascoigne's rehabilitation was actually part of the centenary celebrations, the great things of British sports medicine, which I was extremely proud of. So going from someone that didn't have a lot of schooling, or it was curtailed, to become a chartered physio over that period, it was brilliant. But I got a great depth of knowledge by doing it and working in non-league football as well, because you're on your own.
Yeah.
And this is where you get this deep experience. And also with the St John Ambulance Brigade, doing these competitions all over the country, it really, so running on the field on Saturday to treat an injury was, you never took it for granted, but you had that knowledge to fall back on, life-saving skills.
So I suppose a lot of passion and personality must have come into it as well, because you know that would have been hard to sort of keep all that going to get to the point you got to.
Passion's got to be there, because I had 2 children and then 3 children, so I'm trying to study, hold down a job as an engineer, also studying physio and anatomy, physiology, the whole lot. But I have that lovely love to do it. I just wanted to do it, but I had no intention, because of the injury, of going into league football. It was just a complete accident, really. I would have been quite happy to do non-league football, but suddenly I found that I had, is it a gift or something, that I had compassion because I'd been injured, I think it made me a better physio. And I just had that great love for studying and which I did until I retired, really. And I was doing a lot of lecturing as well for the FA and the local council, you know, so on first aid and sports injuries. So it was just a great love that I had. And it never ended, even you know, with Luton. I always went in and watched all the operations on all the players to get that feeling of living anatomy that you can only see if you actually see the structures. I'm very fortunate that these surgeons, great surgeons, and even with my time at Tottenham, there wasn't many operations I never went in with a player to watch and plan his rehab in the operating theatre. So
what strikes me about
the love was always there.
Yeah, what strikes me about you, John, just listening to what you're saying, is you come across as a very empathic person. And I think that's probably a very good quality to have as a physio, I would have thought. Yeah.
It is. It's very important that players trust you completely. I found that being a physio, though I love football, I found there is a line between them, that you don't get involved in football. You watch it, you enjoy it, you watch all these silky skills of all these great players. But the most important thing is the players trust you completely, and you've got to look after their welfare. And that is of paramount importance. I felt as a physio, if you got involved in football, I don't think you could do it. Because they're not going to confide in you sometimes. I mean, for example, if I'm sitting on the bench at Tottenham and the player's having a bad game and I'm the physio and I start shouting at him, yeah, come on, you know, you've got to remember there's a couple of subs there that are going in. Did you hear what that you know, John was saying about you? Now, if he's got a problem with his family or he could have a problem that's causing a lack of form, he's not going to speak to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. That is, you know, so it was really important. And I always prided myself on that in all the time I was in professional football. That I never got involved in football. I loved it. I would encourage the players, but I would never, ever knock them. And if a player
would you say that, I mean, you talk about that bit about players confiding in you. So would you say that the psychological side was as important as your ability to treat, you know, physical knocks and you know, to the part that you're employed for, obviously, was for the physical side and dealing with that side of things, but being able to connect with them and help them psychologically helped you in the role that you did over the years?
Yeah, the mental part run alongside the physical part, Steve. So you worked on a player mentally anyway all the while. You got to know your players, so you could have a player that you needed to lift or one that you could just give a little telling off. And sometimes if I could see a player was really, you know, down, I would take him up to Mill Hill and we'd play 9 holes pitch and putt and chat away. Or I would say, go and take your wife out, go and take her shopping.
Do they get that nowadays, do you think? Do you think these days physios will go that far? No,
Lee, what you got to remember, when I was doing it, I was most probably the only physio. I was the only physio. I didn't have an assistant. I mean, now you look at Tottenham, how many people have they got on the medical staff? At Tottenham, when I was there, I looked after the first team, the reserves, the youth, the schoolboys, the whole lot. If they had injuries, though I had Cliff Spate first of all, and then Dave Butler as my assistant, I've done, I've done most of the treatment. So I had to look after all these guys, as well as being the dietitian, the travel